Hello and welcome to another episode of Mole Thoughts here on the Mole Under Management channel. My name is ChaosMole and today we have a look at Jumplight Odyssey. Now before we jump into this, let me make something very clear here. This is the early access version of the game. I mean, you can see it down below in the bottom right. It's early access. And that means the game is not out yet. And I normally don't do reviews on early access title. In fact, this is more or less a first look / preview of the game. But the reality is people are interested in this game and, well, they're asking you money if you want this game. So let me give you a first impression what this game does and if it is worth the money in early access. We are not talking about the full release. I will make a Mole Thoughts video when the game is coming out at some point. Now, what is this game? Well, it's actually simple explained if you have ever played any of the Evil Genius games. If you haven't, I have to explain a little bit more. So what you are doing is you have a spaceship and you have a crew on board the spaceship and you are running away from evil space emperor army thingy and you are trying to reach the Everstar. And you have to face a lot of peril, you have to save civilians, you have to manage your resources, and you have to take care of the people on your ship, and you have to make sure that they are somewhat comfortable. And no, as I said, this is not really a RimWorld game. It's also not like Cosmotier where you are slowly building a bigger and bigger ship. This is the ship you have, and what you're doing there is more or less having a base management inside the ship. I can actually show you that here. This is the promenade and this is where all like the crew quarters are, where people are going to relax, to get something to eat and just having a good time. And then of course we have the quarterdeck where a lot of the food is being produced, the med bay is here, and also like water and fuel and all that is getting produced here. So as I said, this is a base management game with hundreds and hundreds of NPCs you have to take care of. So that means you are not just having like 6 or 7 NPCs, you have hundreds of them, and you are also not assuming direct control of an NPC. You cannot just click on this one and then say, okay, I will tell you that you have to go to this machine and you are creating some energy for us by burning fuel. I cannot do that. I have to wait until the AI is doing that for me. And we will talk a little bit about the AI in a few minutes here, but that's how it goes. And well, you're on a spaceship. That means your space is limited. You can see it right here. This is a room where I haven't built anything yet. And then there are of course already some rooms, like this is the turret room where people will go there when they man the turrets to defend their ship, and we will talk about that in a minute. And then you have just some areas where there's just nothing there and you can decide what you want to build in there. The building is kind of fine. There's nothing really special about it. Like I always feel like it goes kind of easy with mouse and keyboard, right? You say what this room will become, then you decide like which size it has, then you will see the cost, and then you can say the doors, the items which should be in there, and so on and so forth. The only thing I'm missing a little bit, and which is confusing the hell out of me because muscle memory, is when I'm hitting escape to close everything, it's not closing anything, it's just throwing me into this menu, right? So you have to do right click to get out of the building menu. Not really a big problem, it's just, you know, playing a lot of strategy games, muscle memory is getting into the way. But yeah, you have to take care of your ship. As you can see here, this hasn't been repaired yet and somebody has to take care of it, but you have to wait till the AI is kind of doing it and then you can just build more and more rooms on your ship. But as I said, there is a limited amount of space you can utilize, so you have to think and plan in what you are doing. And the same goes of course for your crew members. They all have their needs, they want food, they want water, and you have to take care of it, right? And the most important part is that you are trying to reach the Everstar, right? and you have to jump from system to system, which you can do here on the bridge. This is where I am right now. I'm still pretty early in the run here, and the Everstar is very, very far out, and every time you are getting into a new sector, things are also becoming more complicated. You will have more debuffs on you, you need more resources, things are getting hectic or more aggressive towards you till you're finally reaching the Everstar. So there's a lot you have to prepare for, and the most interesting part is really this. You can see this right here. We will have contact in about 11 minutes. What does that mean? Well, that means that the Zotopians will have reached the sector I'm in, and that is not the end of you. Like, this isn't game over by any chance. It just means they have caught up to you, and they will send out their ships, they will send out their smaller ships to attack you, they will try to board you, and they will try to destroy your ship or kill the princess, which will also mean game over. And you have to jump from system to system before they reach you to escape them. Of course, as you have already seen, you can defend yourself. You have some marines which can actually defend the innards of your ship. I have already showed you the turrets, right, like, which will then defend your ship when ships are getting too close, or you can send out your own like hunter ships, like small little attack fighters, which are then trying to, well, fight off the enemy. But nonetheless, at some point you will lose because it gets harder and harder, and the damage will become more and more, while more and more reinforcements of the enemies arrive, and at some point you have to jump to the next area. And so there's a lot of planning on where do you want to jump next, what do you want to do there in the system, because you can send out crew members, as you can see what I'm doing right here, and then those crew members will be on a mission, and they will try to get doing a search and rescue, getting more people on the ship, or getting some resources you need. And every system has their own resources, like food, like organic material, water, or like minerals you need to build more rooms. So you kind of want to assess where you want to stay the most, where you want to utilize your time the most by jumping quickly from system to system. So there is a lot here. My point is pretty simple. This game has a lot to offer. And I can already see that even with this early access version, a lot of people will have a lot of fun, especially if you love base management games, like I said, Eva Genius, or even if you're coming from a RimWorld background, you will find a lot to love in this game. Now, with that said, it is still early access. And that means features are missing. Features don't really function, and they are just bugs and glitches. Some smaller and some more annoying bugs. Like, let's talk about some glitches. Like, sometimes your crew members literally lose their kneecaps, turn their legs by 180, and then walk around like an 80-80. Looks absolutely hilarious, doesn't really hurt anyone, it's a small glitch, nobody cares. But unfortunately, there are also moments where the AI is not reacting to the situation, and you cannot really do anything about it, which is very frustrating. Like, for an example, at the beginning of the game, not all your crew members, but 22 crew members are hurt. And that's completely fine, because this is how the tutorial starts and how the game is explaining to you to repair the med bay, get doctors there, get the Medigel ready, you need to like heal the people, and it's a tutorial explaining you how it works. But after I was done and everyone was healed, I had still 2 NPCs which were just not going into the medbay. I even had one of them patrolling, because it was their job, around the medbay while they are screaming, "Medic! Medic! I'm dying! Medic!" And I'm like, dude, go into the medbay. You are 2 meters away from it. They didn't. It took nearly half an hour till the AI was finally like, oh man, I'm hurt. Why am I not just going into the medbay? And it is so infuriating when that happens, right? And so Yeah, like the AI has those moments where it just doesn't react to a situation when fire is breaking out. They are sending like 20 people to one fire, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Or when you are sending out an away team, like one of the people are just like, nah, you know what, I'm just waiting here for whatever, and they're not moving. And sometimes happens, it's annoying, but not the biggest issue, even though most of the missions are time sensitive and people have to act fast. But it doesn't happen too often. What is a little bit more problematic are just things which are not really in the game yet, and it's becoming a problem. Like one of my biggest problems I have right now, which you might notice if you're looking a little bit around the interface, is I'm losing out on water. I am not producing enough water, but it took me so long to realize that. I was at 1,000 water, right? And it took me so long to realize that I'm actually losing water, because you're not losing water consistently. It's like in real life, right? Like not everyone is using water all the time. Like at some point people want to drink something, people need to take a shower, people have to go to the toilet, people need water to create something. Like the way on how you're utilizing water changes quite drastically. And as long as your water production can keep up on an hourly basis, you are fine. But you don't immediately realize that if you are not like looking at your water bar every hour and you see if your water condensers can keep up, right? There is no way of you knowing that if you're not looking at this constantly and you kind of do the math on it. I would love to see more Excel sheets / interface options to immediately show me, okay, that's what I need. And if you're like, Mole, down there is a filter. Yeah, the filter is only showing you oxygen in an area, but that's it. It doesn't really show you like anything else, and you don't really have any other interface which is telling you exactly like what is going on. And this trend with -25 in last hour is not helping you, because as I said, you have hours where you are consistently creating water actually, and then you have this one time where everyone really needs a lot of water and you get into the minus, but you don't really have to panic about it because you are still creating enough. So this is not really helping you, right? But I would love to see like more information available to me, that I know what the hell is actually going on. And as I said, I'm also alleviating this already because I'm building a room where we are producing more water, and it's not too much of a problem at some point. But it took me a while to caught on to this issue. Now, speaking about things which are not in the game and which are really annoying, is we have to talk about storage. Storage is a pretty important part of this game, and as you can see, I already have some storage racks right over here. And at the beginning, this storage rack was here, right? This is where the storage rack was standing. But then I learned that when you have an item which has like the same overlapping entry point or activation point, like this is where you throw in the resources, and this was where the other rack was standing. So the NPCs would stand on this tile and they could only use the rack. They couldn't use the machine, but the game was not really showing me that. I was a bit, huh? But that wasn't even the biggest, weirdest moment. So when I did build the rack, I was thinking, oh yeah, finally I have some rack. This is my production area, so I want to make sure that in those racks I will only store the materials I will then transform into metal. The thing is, you can't. You cannot tell the storage what should be stored inside the storage. You have no option for that, which is making this whole storage thing absolutely redundant, because you have a huge stockpile on the hangar floor, right? And you don't really need those racks. Like the people are running to this super quickly and getting like all the storage they need, and there's also infinite amount of space, or well, not infinite amount, but huge amount of space in those storage containers. So, and you can build more. So the whole rack system, without you being able to choose what's going inside those racks is not helpful at all. But it gets crazier. You know what happens the moment I built this rack? People were running to the stockpile I just showed you, and they were filling up the storage rack with the items from the stockpile. But wait, it gets crazier. When I moved the storage rack over here, all the materials which were in the storage rack were just staying back on this tile. And I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. They are probably moving the materials over after they have rebuilt the storage rack. No, you know what they did? They immediately did run off to the stockpile to get all the items, fill up the storage rack. After they did that, they grabbed the materials here and put them back into the storage rack one level below. And I was like, are you getting paid per hour here? What the hell is going on? Like, it's those kind of moments where I realize, yeah, they have to optimize this a little bit more. Speaking of optimization, one of the things which sometimes happens, and I'm hoping they're fixing this very soon because it's super annoying, is when you are hovering over those icons here and get the tooltip, that tooltip is sometimes stuck to your mouse. So you're moving around your mouse with this fat tooltip all the time underneath it, and you can barely see anything. And the only way on how to fix this is by saving and reloading the game. If you want to see it in action, it happened actually multiple times to me on my live stream. So my point is, the basis of this game is great. I think the basis of this game
Take the ship to Jumplight.
is fantastic, and
Jumping
the developers have a track record of fixing their game and adding the features people want. So they have a good track record, thankfully. But the reality is, right now, this game is a bit too buggy and a little bit too glitchy. And I would highly recommend just to wait 1 or 2 patches before you're jumping into the early access version. Again, the gameplay is fun, the gameplay is solid, and the moment all those little annoying and pesky bugs are going away, which are literally stopping you from having a lot of fun with this game is awesome. And I'm planning to spend more game time in it, and I will definitely do a Mole Thoughts video when the game is coming out. But TLDR, wait a few patches till they're fixing like some of the more annoying bugs and glitches and adding some of the smaller features. And then, especially if you love the Evil Genius series, this game is pretty good. And I have a lot of high hopes that people will enjoy this game when it goes further in early access. But that's all I can tell you right now. Keep in mind, this is for the early access version and only the early access version, and I will be definitely back when the game is fully releasing. With that said, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. If you're new here, the Mole Under Management channel is completely focusing on strategy, management games, like everything which is strategy is basically here on the channel. RTS, turn-based, sim games, like they're all, as long as they're all fitting into the strategy genre, you will find it here on the Mole Under Management channel. So again, thank you so much for watching, stay safe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.